you have to accept who you are, love the person that you've accepted, and then you can go out there and know that the only validation you need is your love and your what you think about yourself.
So, hi Naomi, welcome to Yodoozy. It's absolutely great having you with us today at Yodoozy Chit Chat. So I'll just start with the questions.
Okay.
Uh, So you're a fashion influencer, and one of your main messages that you've been spreading is body positivity. How did it all like start for you? Where did it start?
Honestly, I feel like it all started on TikTok. I didn't originally start, I feel, as like a body positivity influencer. I think it started off just as someone just wanting to make content. Um, but it slowly started to get there, I guess, because people enjoyed the confidence and enjoyed the content that came with it. And I was like, you know what? I want people to feel as good as I do. Like that is my goal with my content is to help people feel comfortable in their skin. So it definitely all started on TikTok.
Oh, that is amazing. It's amazing that you found like your niche and then you could just work on it.
Thank you.
So, okay, you have a massive fan following on TikTok and like on other social media platforms like Instagram. So, what type of content do your fans like follow you for the most right now?
It's complicated to say because I feel like I've mastered the craft of being able to have like this duality. So on TikTok, it's usually always comedy. It's always just fun and like lighthearted and just feel good content versus Instagram, although it's changing to be more like personable instead of like this unattainable dream. It still has to be very curated content and like very like, always perfect, if that makes sense, like the clothes, the pictures. So I feel like on Instagram, people follow me for like fashion and for looks and just all of that good stuff. Versus TikTok, I feel like I could be a little bit more of my silly side. So I feel like it's different for those two platforms. But I think the top two would be like fashion and comedy.
Okay, that is amazing. Obviously, they're both very different platforms, and you cannot have the same kind of content on both those platforms. Okay, so you're a fashion influencer. How important do you think that it is for like someone to have their own sense of like style, especially like as an influencer, the fashion influencer?
I think it's super important because I feel like I don't know how to explain it. I feel like fashion is just so different for everybody. And I feel like obviously everyone has different ideas of what looks good. It's the same thing with comedy. I think like it's very subjective. So for me, I feel like it's so important to kind of like just wear stuff that makes you feel good. Because I feel like there's so many people who will look at fashion and like, oh, I can never wear that, but I appreciate people who do. And I feel like people can wear it. I just think it's a fear of what other people think. So I think once you find like that confidence in your own personal style, like you'll feel so much better every day because you're just doing it for yourself.
Yeah, that sounds amazing. Like having a good fashion sense does make you feel a lot better about your day, if nothing
Right.
else. Okay, so how would you describe your own personal sense of fashion?
I feel like just very Naomi because it's I I'm trying to find the right words. I feel like I don't really have I don't know how to explain it. I feel like it's a mixture of so many different styles. I just feel like I find stuff that I enjoy and I try to put it together. So I feel like it's just very me, if that's the way. Like it's just very Naomi.
So, like a lot of your content, I was going through a lot of your content. It's a lot of like plus size fashion. So, do you think the popular fashion magazine they need to be more inclusive of like like plus size models and like plus size fashion in general?
I think that there's a barrier. I feel like they are trying to be a little bit more inclusive, but I feel like it's not inclusive enough. I feel that for some reason fashion has this perception that like all plus size people look the same and are all shaped the same, which is like that hourglass shape, you know, no like fat in your belly area, just like in your thighs and your butt. And well, that is like plus size and certain people's shapes, it's not everybody's shapes. So I feel like inclusivity is so important. And I always say like if those if they're not there, you have to like make your own doors, if that makes sense. Like you have to find a way to make a seat for yourself at the table because it's so hard to kind of get there.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Like that, you don't see a lot of inclusivity in fashion anyway, like of any kind for that matter. And it really needs to be there because that's exactly what you look at when you're thinking about anything.
Right.
Yeah. Okay. So you're a big advocate of the body positivity movement. So what would you tell people who do not feel very confident in their bodies?
I feel the first thing I would say is self acceptance is key. I feel like self acceptance is where it starts. You have to accept and acknowledge like who you are and what you have before you can start this journey of self love. Because self love, there is no self love without self acceptance, and there is no confidence without self love. People like to say that they can be confident with that, with having issues with their body, and that's just not true. And that's why I tell people you have to accept who you are, love the person that you've accepted, and then you can go out there and know that the only validation you need is your love and your what you think about yourself. So that's definitely my best advice when it comes to like self-love and acceptance and telling people to um, start that journey.
Okay, so you said that like the entire body positivity thing, it wasn't where you started, but it is kind of a niche which you have gone into now. So how has it impacted your life and your content?
I feel like it's maybe not necessarily factor in my life, but it's I guess it's helped me a little bit because, you know, going into social media, I only knew the content creator side. People don't know that there's a whole business factor to social media. So once you curate your content and once you create that following, a business door opens up, which is super crazy. Um, and so it makes me happy that I'm able to still being myself while creating content. Like I feel like being plus size and being body positive and being confident has always been maybe not the confidence side, but at least the body positivity and plus size has always been me. I've been plus size my entire life. So the confidence came later, but I'm glad that it did. But I feel like it hasn't really changed my life up too much. I just feel that I'm able to do things as myself instead of trying to like change who I am.
So we understand that you're from a Mexican descent. How do you keep in touch with your heritage, especially because you don't live in any of the Latin American countries? So how do you keep in touch with that part of your personality content?
Yeah, that, it was definitely hard because my family, like, although I grew up in South Central, which is a heavily Latina and Latina populated area, it I didn't go to school out here, so I was always bussed out. So it's very crazy. So they call where I if I would have gone to school here, they called it like inner city schools. And then if you wanted like a better education, like they would bus you out to like, you know, the west side. So I'm from the South LA, go to West LA. So I went to school my entire life until high school when I started to transition. And it was a culture shock because, although I grew up in a Mexican household, it was very white. And it kind of like changed my perception and kind of made me a little ashamed, truthfully, of who I was because I was like, no one here is like me. Like, they're obviously the other people that get bussed in, but if you're trying to, like, I guess, fit in, the only way is to change yourself. So, the once I transferred schools to like transition, it opened my eyes again because I'm like, there's no need to like change who you are. I think cultural appreciation for your own culture is so important. And I try to find ways by like honestly like having conversations with my grandparents because my grandparents were born in Mexico and they immigrated here. So I'm the first generation born here from my mom's side. So I kind of talk to them and try to learn like recipes. I try to learn their ancestry. I try to figure stuff out through them and just trying to figure out who I am and take part in other things of my culture. For instance, like El Dia de los Muertos, you know, like Mexican Independence Day, celebrating Latina Heritage Month, just like doing stuff that I know I can kind of feel connected with my roots and all of that good stuff. So it was definitely another journey. Again, like growing up in it, like I said, LA is a melting pot, but then there's also like so many different things happening. So yeah, sorry if I went on a tangent.
No, that's completely fine. It was actually a very I think it is something that people really need to know, especially because I think a lot of people struggle with identities living like living in a very diasporic area where like you don't exactly know where you belong, and I think it's an important conversation to have.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. Okay, so if you could, give some advice, like a 3-point advice to plus size women on fashion, what would it be? Like a 3-point advice.
I think my best advice is don't like okay. Wear what you want to wear and like don't be afraid of it. I think that's the best advice ever because I know a lot of people are afraid to like wear things that show off like their belly or because of what people are going to say about it. You know, they want us to cover up, they want us to wear like colorful print, they want us to dress a certain way, and I think it's so important to just don't be afraid and just own it. I think that's my best advice.
Absolutely. Okay, so what are 5 fashion rules that you would never personally break?
5 fashion rules for what?
Just like any like 5 fashion rules which you would never break.
Oh, okay. 5 fashion rules I would never break. That's tough. Okay. Okay. I guess I'm gonna say my rules. Never leave without a bag. I think having a purse is so important. I think purses or bags, whatever you wear, always tie a look together. So never leave without a bag. Um, for me, I guess since I'm more of like a muted, like yeah, my style is kind of out there, but also muted. I always say don't over accessorize. Like I'm the type of person that will never wear um crazy jewelry with long earrings. Like for me, it's just don't over accessorize, never leave without a bag. Third, I always feel like my other rule is this is a tough one. You really got me with this one. Because I feel like fashion has no rules, but then I also catch myself like doing things, you know, always changing it up. Um, I guess another rule is like if I'm not, oh my God, I'm like thinking so hard. This is a tough one. This really is. I'm like, oh my God, I'm sweating to me.
I really got you.
I guess I would never like wear pattern on pattern. Let's say that. I think that's something I would never do. I'm like trying to think because I'll wear like pattern dresses and stuff like that. Like, you know, I'm not afraid of animal print. I know some people don't like it. I don't mind it. But I don't think I would ever wear like animal print on animal print. So, or like print on print. So that's another thing. That's 3. 4.
I mean, we can stop at 3 if you
Always,
really
I think
cannot.
4 is good. Always show off like the belly. I'm always doing that. I feel like a lot of people, look, that's why I told you the last time, a lot of people shy away from showing their stomach. I feel like a good crop top or even like a high-waisted pant, like just owning like what you have and not being afraid of it is so important. So I think those will be my top 4.
Okay, so how do you pamper yourself after like a tiring day?
That was me. How do I pamper myself?
After a tiring day, like
Iced coffee. Even though after I drink iced coffee, it's torture. If you've ever seen my TikToks, it's horrible because I'm like I have IBS and lactose intolerant, so like it's double whammy. But a good iced coffee and just like catching up on shows that I love like really helps. And or spending time with my husband, but he works, so typically it's just like that kind of stuff. Just catching up on shows and just decompressing the day and enjoying some iced coffee. It's all great.
What are some must-haves according to you for a wardrobe?
A good pair of jeans. I think at least 5 pairs of shoes. I think like being able to, because that's the crazy thing, you could rewear an outfit, but if you change the shoe, the whole outfit changes. So I think like having a good amount of shoes that you could switch up, I think that's so important. I love purses. It's like my favorite thing, especially like mini handbags. So having a good collection of handbags. Um, and statement pieces. I think that's another thing too. I feel like with fashion, for example, I just recently posted a picture and it was very like for me, I feel like the outfit is basic, but what made it stand out was having a statement piece. So it turned it from something that was simple to something that was a little bit extra. So like the dress, it was just like a little dress, and then I added a cardigan that was like a chartreuse color with like flowers on it, and it just made the whole outfit pop. So I feel like just having those statement pieces that you can add on to an outfit that's on the simpler side really can just change the whole look.
Okay. So, sometimes, like, how do you maintain your positivity and confidence on days when you're just not feeling it? Like, there's just some days when you just can't. How do you
No,
get through
right.
those?
I always say there's something called toxic positivity. And I feel like those are people who are just always trying to be positive, even when they're not feeling great. And I feel like it's important to feel your feelings. Obviously, like on social media, it's a persona to an extent, because I feel like I'm being myself, but I also feel like my content is all about positivity, that I can't always necessarily feel like I can be on there and feel my feelings unless like I go live or something. So for me, I feel like I just feel my feelings. Like if I'm having a bad day, like, and I feel like I need to cry, cry. If I feel like I need to binge eat, even though like, I struggle with that, I'm a binge eat. I just think it's so important to feel those feelings after you've processed and felt them, like just, start doing your things again. And for me, just like, that's the most important thing for me. Just make sure that I actually process the feelings that I'm feeling instead of trying to bury them under positivity.
Okay, so do you have any hairstyling tips for plus size women that you can share with us?
That's the one thing that I can't share because I struggle with hair so bad. Like I'm always trying to figure out what to do and it's always the same thing. And I'm like, maybe I need to practice. So unfortunately, no. But yeah.
Okay, so on a lighter note, what's your take on spots and stripes? Which one would you wear and where?
Spots and stripes. Oh, I probably would pick the stripes just because, like, I don't know, spots aren't for me. Maybe if they're small polka dots, I could do that. But if they're like big, that's not for me. And I feel like stripes is just easier to like work with, maybe in the top. So I guess it depends, but I'm gonna go with the stripes.
Okay, how would you style it?
If I were to style stripes, that's tough. Um, it depends what the stripe is. Like if it's a striped top, maybe like a cute blazer with a skirt or jeans, and like if it's jeans, a sneaker. If it's a skirt, maybe like a cute like um thigh, not a thigh high, but like a calf high boot. I think that would be really cute with like a heel.
That sounds really cute. Okay, so now we have the autumn winter season coming in. What would be your advice for that season, the fashion for that season, and which fashion trends do you think that everyone should be on the lookout for?
For fall,
Yeah.
I think for fall fashion, I live in LA. We talked about this. So it's extremely hot. Like we have our moments where it's like cold, if not like it's hot. But for me, like when it's colder, I think for sure a cute cardigan, and I said a statement cardigan. Like they're making so many different cardigans right now. I think it's so important. I love ripped jeans. I love calf boots. I think people don't understand. Like the calf boots are the ones that don't go up to your knees, but like stop at your calves. Those are so cute. And I think it's like really like bohemian, but I really appreciate like the color and the story of a boot. So definitely boots, definitely a calf boot, definitely cardigans. I love leather, more specifically pleather. So I think like anything that's pleather, pleather pants, pleather jackets, pleather tops. Like, don't be afraid of it. Unless it gets really hot, then stay away from it. But I think those are three things that I will look out for. And it's all stuff that you can play with and deconstruct in different ways.
Okay, so are there any fashion influencers that you follow and like who inspire you, follow who you follow?
Right. I think there's a few. So Tess Holiday, I was really like freaked out because she's pretty big in terms of like modeling and like fashion. And she recently just followed me on TikTok back. So I like freaked out. But I also love Rihanna. I know she's a musician and like makeup, but her sense of style I feel is just so effortless. It is, even if it's the craziest thing, I feel like it always looks put together in some way. So I think in terms of like fashion, those would be like my top two, just because it's always so put together and they always are just so like effortless with it.
Okay. So, like now there's a lot of people who resonate with your content and interact with it. How does it make you feel to have like this kind of following?
It makes me excited and happy, but it also like makes me nervous because I feel like when I signed up for it, I didn't necessarily want the not the following. I do appreciate that. I think it's just like that sense of responsibility, to always be perfect. I feel like as humans, mistakes will be made always. And I feel like there's always that sense of responsibility to be perfect. But on the brighter note, it makes me super happy because I'm able to create content that like allows me to connect with so many different people and allows me to spread love and positivity always. As a plus size person, you get hate just for existing. I think it's the craziest thing. And I always bring this up. If you see someone who smokes 10 packs of cigarettes a day, it doesn't start to show till later in life for some people. So you'll never know that they are doing stuff that people deem unhealthy, right? But for some reason, when you see a fat person, right away they're unhealthy. And I think even if even if they are, why is it anyone's business other than theirs? And so for me, like, I'm okay with getting the hate that I get as long as people understand that it's okay to live your life and just embrace who you are and not be afraid, because no matter what, there's always going to be someone that's going to say something about you. No matter what you do in life, no matter how you look in life, people are always going to say something about you. So yeah, I am truly grateful for the platform that I have and the people that follow me because I always feel that love with them. So overall, it's been a great experience. I think there are, like I said, there are some scares with it. It does get like nerve-wracking, but overall, it's been super amazing.
That's amazing. It's also like a very important conversation to have, like people inserting themselves into the lives of people they do not know or do not understand.
Yeah, it's crazy, because it's like I feel to an extent it's how do I explain this? Because I can see both sides of an argument. So some people will say, well, this is the life that you chose, right? And so this is what people are going to say and what you have to deal with it. But then at the same time, some people didn't necessarily choose it. Some people are like, it just happened. And so it's crazy, but I don't know. For me, and like I said, grateful. Sorry, the light's crazy, but grateful for the people that follow me. Without them, I wouldn't have a platform. But at the same time, like, yeah, I can see the insert can be crazy. Like people just coming in and not knowing the full story is crazy.
Yeah. Okay, so what more can we expect from your Instagram and YouTube channels in the future? TikTok.
Definitely this. I want so because we're planning to move really soon. It's still in LA, but just like on our own because we live with my mom at the moment. So definitely just more content together, my husband and I. Um, Fashion content, more clean content, crisp content, because I don't have the space necessarily to create everything I want to create. So definitely just quality content, and it's gonna some the same and obviously some switch ups.
Okay, that is very exciting. Okay, so before we end this interview, what would be a message for our audience?
A message for the audience is always be yourself. Don't be afraid to be yourself. There's going to be a time in your lives where, you know, if sometimes it may feel like being ourselves is not getting us anywhere. People don't accept us for whatever reason, your ethnicity, your lifestyle choices, whatever. I think it's just important to always remember that being yourself is the best thing because we're all unique. So that's my message to the audience. Just don't be afraid to be yourself.
Okay, so thank you so much. This was a great discussion. I got to know a lot, and I'm sure that our audience also found it incredibly informative and very interesting as well. So, on that note, I would bring this session of Yodoozy Chit Chat to an end. Thank you so much for being with us. It was
Thank
a
you
great
so much.